Good googly moogly, folks. It is already week 8 in the NFL. Time is flying by. We got a great show coming your way today. Tyson Dolan joins later on. We're going to preview a little bit of Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers, and New York Football Giants coming up later at the end of the show. Of course, get you our Monday Night Football picks and predictions. But let's first dive into the crazy day that was the NFL. Week 8 yesterday. Of course, we got to start with one of the finishes of the season, one of the biggest finishes in recent years I can remember. And of course, we're talking about that Hail Mary game winner at the buzzer yesterday between Washington Commanders and Chicago Bears. Final score 18-15. Jaden Daniels, game-winning Hail Mary to Noah Brown, gets it done. And of course, as we'll talk a little bit about here in a minute, there's a little extra effect as well that wasn't captured on the live broadcast, but if you're on social media, you saw what you know what I'm talking about, and we'll get into that later with our ass hat of the week too as well. I'm guessing. So let's dive into that. What were your thoughts on that Hail Mary yesterday? Can you remember a better finish? I mean, when was the last big Hail Mary like that we've seen? It's been a long time. I know Rodgers had done it a couple times, but man, that was incredible.
Someone just did it. Did Rodgers do it before halftime? Yeah, Rodgers did it to Alan Lazard before halftime a couple weeks ago. But not to win a game. Not to win a game. I was pumped for this game. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, two rookie quarterbacks, two organizations that have been shitty as of late, found themselves in good spots up to this game. And I know it was your type of football. I would have much rather have seen a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels 38-35 game, but that Hail Mary was fucking awesome. I watched that. I was being the nice boyfriend I am, Sheets, and went to go get DQ Blizzards. It's like 5 minutes down the road, so I got to come back, rush into the freezer, make sure they're cold, you know. Yeah. And I had to let them melt a little bit. I was watching the game when I got parked on my phone, and there was 20 seconds left in this Washington Bears game, and I'm so glad I tuned in and let those melt a little bit because that was an insane. Probably is that the best game of the year so far?
I think without a doubt. I
mean, it was electrifying. I'm Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams, to be honest. I would prefer to see Jaden Daniels be balling out than Caleb. Are you in that same train? You're in the opposite train.
You would rather see Daniels ball out or Williams?
Daniels. I don't mind Williams. I don't mind Williams, but I really like Daniels.
I love Jaden Daniels. I've been high on the Commanders and him all season long. I thought they were going to be just like last year's Texans, where they're going to be ready to go year number one with rookie quarterback. I mean, that throw was big just to buy extra time. He fucking threw that motherfucker about 70 damn yards. I mean, he's been like NFL ready since the start. There hasn't been any really real hiccups. I mean, this probably wasn't one of his better games, and he still found a way to keep him in it. And then obviously make that huge throw. I mean, that's a big nuts throw, man. That's a bigger throw than many quarterbacks make in their whole careers.
So the part that's getting underlooked is the play before. I think they had 7 or 8 seconds, and they threw an 8-yard out to get them a little more yardage.
Right.
If that doesn't happen, that Hail Mary may not happen either. That was insanely smart. And then, do you want to get in? Are you waiting to? Is he your ass hat or?
I thought he was yours. You said you had an ass hat.
I got a different one, and you're not going to like it.
Oh, I'm not going to like it?
No.
Well, let's go with our – we'll go our ass hats later. But, yeah, it sounds like we got an ass hat from this game, and then I guess you got a different one. But what you talked about kind of led me into my next point. The Bears coaching was horrendous. Like you said, the play before that – there was still plenty of time where they didn't need to be in prevent yet. They probably should have known, and also we've been talking about it. They have plenty of time to get another big chunk, and they gave him all that cushion. They gave him a free play, essentially, to get him into Hail Mary territory. Before that, if they played press coverage and forced incomplete pass, they're not in Hail Mary range. They're going to have to pitch the ball around, and that shit fucking never happens. So the Bears fucked up on that second-to-last play. They fucked up at the 1-yard line, handed the ball off, not even to a fullback, but to a fucking backup center. That fucker fumbles the ball, and they should have been an easy touchdown that seals the game, essentially. And they were able to take the lead after that, but it was just a barrage of coaching mistakes, letting them get in the field goal range, handing the ball off to the backup center. And then, of course, the fucking idiot defensive back, too, jawing with the fucking Commanders fans as the play is going on, not before the play, which would have been embarrassing enough if he's jawing with them before the play and then the Hail Mary happens. The play literally snapped, and he's still fucking jawing at Commanders fans. And then he tips the ball up to Noah Brown, who catches it. I'm blanking on the fucker's name right now, but he is the asshat of the week. Tyrique Stevenson talking shit during the middle of the play, and then you got Bears fans like pointing at him like, yo, the fucking we snapped the ball already, dumbass. He's like turned around. He's not even facing the field. He's facing the fucking end zone. And then he really realizes what goes on. He fucking runs in there and doesn't knock it down. He fucking volleyballs it up to Noah Brown. So I will get one asshat of the week out of the way early. He is our asshat of the week. That might be the biggest asshat of the season. I can't imagine anyone on it. So we got a lot of weeks left. I can't imagine anyone topping that. That is an all-time fuck up. That is an all-time screw up. He did own it up to it like a man. He did, apologize right after the game. And I think Stevenson made a big play to give him one of their wins like in week 1 or week 2. He is a pretty damn good corner, but it's going to be hard to live this down. No matter what he does the rest of his career, I think this is going to stick with him. That was one of the dumbest plays I think I have ever seen in the history of the NFL, if we're being completely honest.
Am I coming through okay?
I can hear you. Your picture's a little blurry, but you sound good. That's all right.
He would have been better just time. That's what I find hilarious. And I don't know if someone put 1 second he was on the field taunting while the play was after the snap. 4 seconds, play's gone. That's a long ass time.
No.
And I did look back. Tyrique Stevenson wins his first asshat of the week. Mike McCarthy, all-time leader, with 5 asshats of the week, by the way.
Wow. How many Jerry Jones have?
That I didn't go back and look. I gave it to McCarthy, I think, 2 or 3 times, and so did you last year, and maybe once this year.
Yeah.
But I'll go back and look up Jerry Jones next week.
Okay. I feel like he's probably up there. But, yeah, first asshat of the week for Tyrique Stevenson. Like I said, though, this might be one of the biggest asshats we've ever given out. Like you said, 4 seconds. I think the average football play is about 6 seconds. So literally almost the length of an average play. He's lucky that fucking Daniels was scrambling around for long enough. If he just like dropped straight back and then let it heave, he probably doesn't even make any attempt on the ball. But still, it was essentially 11 versus 10 on that play. And then my biggest thing is like, what does a Chicago Bears player have to jaw about anything? What does a Bears player have to talk shit about anything? What have they ever done since we've been alive? They have never done anything since we've been alive, except go to the Super Bowl and get their ass handed to them by the Colts. That's the only thing they've ever done. What is a Bears fan talking shit for? I mean, obviously there's still a play left, but they haven't done anything this season. They haven't done anything in the last season. They haven't done anything in the last 5 years. They haven't done anything in our entire lifetime, like I said. What is any Bears player talking shit about?
They shouldn't be. They should be having duct tape on their mouth the whole game, every game. But I kind of hope a rivalry gets born out of these two. Caleb, I hope both these quarterbacks stay there for a long time, and I hope this continues to go on. But yeah, his asshat, I mean, we're not just talking a ball cap. We're talking like the biggest sombrero you can find. I mean, that he did comment today on Twitter. He tweeted out like mistakes were made, bad behavior, blah, blah, blah. Things will get fixed. I hope so, because if he does that again, you're out of a job.
Right. He owned it. He definitely owned it, but mistakes were made. That's a colossal fuck up. I mean, that takes a win off the board and a team that's probably going to be fighting for a wild card spot. They've won 3 in a row. He killed their streak. It could have been 4 games. This is a win that if you come away with can really change your season. And now it drops them with a loss. It's just, they're fighting with the Commanders. The Commanders essentially have about the same record. They're fighting for the team that they're playing against, like in the same division, also trying to fucking make a playoff spot. It just was an all-time fuck up.
And the Bears, they play the number 1 team in the NFC West next week, the Arizona Cardinals, which I can't believe I'm saying. Guess that line. Did you already look ahead at this one?
I don't know this line. Is it at Arizona or is it at home?
It's yes, it's in Arizona.
So I'm gonna say the Cardinals are favored. Let's go Cardinals -2.
Pretty good, Sheets. The Cardinals -1. I thought you were going to say a little bit higher number than that. But yeah, that all of a sudden, who would have thought we'd be saying the 4-3 Bears and the 4-4 number 1 in the NFC West, Arizona Cardinals, are playing each other. Afternoon slate. I like that game.
The NFC West has been atrocious this year. The Bears are picking up wins they probably shouldn't win. They should have had another one in their column last week or yesterday too, like we've talked about. That is a surprising matchup that's actually intriguing. I think if you'd ask most people if they're interested in watching the Bears-Cardinals Week 9, they would have said, fuck no. That could be one of the games of the week looking ahead. Like you said, it's essentially a pick 'em, -1. I would take Cardinals. Looking ahead early, I would take Cardinals.
Bears are 0-3 on the road, so I like that pick.
Yeah. So that was one of the best finishes in the NFL I can remember in a long time, regular season or playoffs. Crazy, crazy finish. Jayden Daniels is legit. There's a reason I drafted him in my Dynasty League. I believed in him. Starting quarterback of the Beverly Hills Long Shots. Gets it done yesterday. Probably wins some fantasy matchups and loses some fantasy matchups on that game. I know it happened in our league, right?
Yeah, how about Funk versus Cooley this week? Jayden Daniels, Funk's quarterback. Cooley's playing the Bears defense. Throws a 50, 55, whatever, how long it was, touchdown, and the Bears defense goes to -3, and he loses by 2. Yeah, he was texting me. He's like, that's such a tough way to lose. I'm like, yeah, I do kind of feel sorry for you. That you should never lose like that as a fantasy owner.
That's a brutal, brutal day, especially if you think you have a win in the bag and then you see that. Again, I would be calling for Stevenson's neck if I was a fantasy owner and I was on the wrong end of that. I have Jayden Daniels. It didn't affect my fantasy matchup, but it was a 6-point swing on the one play at the end of the game. That's crazy. I think
you whooped my ass this week.
I did. The team went off. I think both of us really wanted to win badly this week, so I'm glad I got it. I don't know if you have.
I got to win out now.
But yeah.
I got to win out, but I got my boy Tyreek Hill. I picked up Tua. I think they're going to get it together. Maybe we'll meet to the playoffs. Maybe see you again. That'd be great. I'd love to see you again in the playoffs. But, yeah, that's tough. I mean, Cooley's just sitting in his basement with that 80-inch projector he's got, checking his phone every 10 minutes, that matchup, and then just to lose like that. That's – wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Our heart goes out to Josh Cooley losing like that. And, and at the other end, shout out Jake Beck. Great fantasy win.
Yeah, we looked it up. Beck's like, I don't know. We don't think Beck's ever made the playoffs in this league. So he's just a continuously shit fantasy owner. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't think he has either. I think I've been in like a year or two less, maybe. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I don't think I have either. I can't remember if I have yet.
Oh, sheets. This is the year.
Hopefully it is. Let's move on to our next game. And this is another game many people probably had as like a tune-out game. We don't need to pay attention. Jameis Winston, 3 touchdown passes, and the Cleveland Browns stunned Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens 29-24, and their 5-game losing streak. Many people think the Ravens are the favorites in the AFC, can maybe win it all. And Cleveland gets it done. Potentially, I mean, their season still might be in the tank, but maybe can spark something here. Jameis Winston, 27-41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Fucking Deshaun Watson hadn't had a 300-yard passing game since he joined the Browns. He's been there for pretty much 3 seasons. Jameis Winston does it in 1 game. Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, I don't even think had 250 passing yards in any game this year. He was under 200 fucking damn near every week. And it takes Jameis Winston one game. They beat one of the best teams in the NFL. Shout out Jameis Winston. He quoted Eminem after the game. Big one for Cleveland Nation. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better guy, Jameis Winston. I was not always a fan of him in college, but over the years I've grown to admire him. And I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. I think it was great to see him pick up a win, and it was great to see the Browns end that miserable five-game skid.
If you've been listening, you know I love Jameis Winston. He's my guy. He fucking went off against, like you said, well, many people believe one of the best teams in the NFL. 3 touchdowns, 334 yards, no interceptions. I mean, for him to say, what do you say? He's like that white boy in Detroit. White boy in Detroit once said, and then goes to quote, "Lose yourself." He's just fucking awesome. I love that guy, and I'm so glad he got a win. There's got to be. They're talking about it on PMT. There's got to be 5 or 6 teams that would take Jameis Winston right now in a starting spot. And the fact that he was on the bench. I mean, the Panthers would take him. The Raiders would take him. Fuck, maybe even the team tonight, the Giants, the Patriots. I mean, there's just so many teams that would Jameis Winston could be playing. I hate the fact that he's in the league sitting on the bench, but now he's getting his shine, playing well. Do they have a chance? Let me go see who they have next week. They've got the Chargers and Saints coming up. If you win 2 of those, you're back to 4-6. You're maybe sniffing around in the hunt, but it's probably pretty low, right?
It's still pretty low. And obviously with Jameis Winston, you'll get these games, so you get the legacy games, and you're going to get a couple stinkers in there.
Yeah, what was it? 3-4 years ago, he had a season where he had like 31 touchdowns and 29 picks.
Yeah, I know. And then after the season, he had to get like surgery on his eyes. So he couldn't fucking see. He was like going blind.
Check out his TikTok if you haven't ever seen it. Sometimes he posts every once in a while just some funny ass reviews of something. He's good shit.
He is good shit. He kind of got a bad rap early on when he was at FSU for being kind of a shithead, slacker, loudmouth. But he's turned that around, and he's ended up being one of the wisest guys in the NFL, one of the most likable guys in the NFL, one of the best motivational guys in the NFL. Any team would love to have him, not only for his talent, but for the locker room presence that he brings. And I feel really good for Browns fans who were just – I mean, it was obvious that it wasn't Kevin Stefanski's call to keep Deshaun Watson. And Kevin Stefanski is a former NFL Coach of the Year. He's a smart guy. This was the owner's fucking decision. The owner fucked up by signing him to this big contract, making him the most fucking paid quarterback at the time. And then he just feels obligated to, since they're handcuffed to him, to keep playing him. And then it takes him one game without him to win. Fucking see ya, Deshaun Cosby. His career is over. Rightfully so.
What? I have never heard that before. Deshaun Cosby. You've had to have seen that somewhere, right? Like how have I missed that?
He's just a big abuser. I mean, he does the same kind of thing. He likes to get a little too crazy with it. It's like, Deshaun Watson's like at the time was one of the best athletes probably in all of Texas. I don't think he needed to go about the means he was going to get some of the attention he wanted. I think he could have, gotten that pretty easily. So it's just weird when people with this much access to, women and whatever, and all the stuff that comes with fame, when they resort to stuff like this, that means they're kind of fucked up on that. They're creeps.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got 2 questions for you on the Browns though going forward. A, are they the worst wide receiver room ever?
It's pretty bare.
Without Amari Cooper, Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, Jared Jeudy. I don't know. Even the Panthers have a better receiving core than that.
The Panthers, I think, I forget who it was. They went out and traded for a receiver late last year, maybe.
They got Deontay Johnson.
This year. Who?
Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh.
That's right.
And they drafted Xavier Legette. So they're pretty solid. Is Thielen still in the league?
Who?
Adam Thielen.
I don't think so. Maybe he is.
Did he just quietly retire? What the fuck?
That's a good Google search. I'll pull that up in a second. I will say Cedric Tillman impressed me yesterday. I thought he did a pretty good game and maybe showed a little bit more of what he can bring. 2 touchdowns. But yeah, Jerry Jeudy never really amounted to what people thought he was going to be. Elijah Moore, kind of the same thing too. But it's like, who knows? Playing with Deshaun Watson, I just think really brought them down in so many different ways. Obviously, the guy can't play quarterback. He literally sucks, literally stinks. Should be a backup somewhere. And then, of course, the locker room aspect. I don't think anybody wanted to play with him. I don't think anyone wanted him in the room. So now that he's out for the season, maybe his presence diminishes as much, in terms of the day-to-day and things of being around. I think this is a blessing in disguise. You obviously never want to see your starting quarterback go down for the year, but in this case, they might be what they needed.
And my second question, Sheets, is is Nick? If you're Nick Chubb, why do you not just sit out the rest of the year? Just take a year to become healthy. Your year's already limited as a running back. You have no chance this year. I know you probably want to play some football, but I mean, he's got 2 or 3, maybe 4 years left in him. Why waste this year when he's already gotten hurt in week 2?
Yeah, it was pretty early on in the season. I don't know. He didn't look particularly good yesterday or healthy. I think D'Onta Foreman looked much better than him. You might be right. Like, it's 2-6 season, or they're 2-6 in the season right now. Like, if you want to get a couple solid seasons left in your career, maybe it is best to shut it down. I know it's probably not in his nature, but he didn't look healthy yesterday.
No. Go take a retreat. Take the year off or something. Go to a darkness retreat. He doesn't need to be playing this year. Get healthy. Come back next year and be the Nick Chubb I want to watch.
I think I'm with you on this one. And also I wanted to mention, too, shout out Browns. I think their longtime, radio announcer just passed away, too. So they got a big win for that guy. I think that's a big win for Cleveland in a season where they don't have many. Coming out the playoffs last year, they probably thought they were going to be a pretty good team. They have a good defense, but it's been shit so far. And to knock off the Baltimore Ravens, no matter what happens, at least you always have that week 8. Moving on, let's get to both of our teams' games. Do you want to go first this week? You want me to go? I'll let you make the pick.
I'll go first.
All right, go for
it. Big win. And as you can see right now, I'm in the bathroom because the Packers just took a massive dump on the AFC South. We just get out the brooms. We beat the Jags. We beat the Colts. We beat the Titans. We beat the Texans. Thank God we got the AFC South in this league because I'm not sure where we would be right now. But we're sitting at 6-2. Jordan Love gets hurt with the groin. I think he'll be fine. But as a Packers fan, I'm not even worried when he goes out. We got Malik the King Willis just coming in balling whenever we need him to. And I think LaFleur almost likes he's a crazy enough coach. He likes when he comes in just so he has to be creative and get some shit done another way. And he does.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, is there any QB controversy at all in Green Bay? Jordan Love.
No.
I mean,
let's not get carried away, Sheets. We know where the QB controversy lies in this podcast, and it's not in Green Bay.
I'm just asking. I think it's a fair question. Malik Willis, got off to a hot start to start the year. Comes in yesterday. The Jags, looked like they could probably pull it off. He comes in and saves the day. He had some big plays, had some big throws. I don't know. I think it's worth asking.
Fair question. The answer is no. But I love where we're sitting. 6-2. We got a big game next week. We host the Lions. And the spread's Lions -3.5. That screams Lions maybe win by 1 or 2. But we'll see. We get the big game. If we win, we're at the top of the division. If we lose, I'm not really going to be that heartbroken. So it's more like let's see what happens next week, and I'm not too nervous about it.
You're not too nervous about the Lions next week?
No, because we'll play them again. So if we lose to them, we're still sitting at 6-3, better than 80% of the NFL. Clearly in the playoff picture. Obviously, I would like to win. I would love to beat the Lions, as every fan does, wants to beat their division rivals. But I'm not going to be that heartbroken if we lose. It's going to be unless we get killed. If we get killed, that's going to be a problem.
What are your thoughts on Tucker Kraft?
You ever heard of a guy named Jimmy Graham?
I have, Sheets.
What about Travis Kelce?
I have heard of that guy, Mr. Pfizer.
Heath Miller?
Heath Miller. That's a blast from the past.
All these names. Tucker Kraft's going to be right there with them when it's all said and done. I love it. I love our whole receiving core, our running backs. Josh Jacobs actually looked like Josh Jacobs again. I mean, we're in a good spot and we're young. Still the second youngest team in the NFL, I think. So I'm on my high horse here. But let's bring the mood down a little bit and talk about your Indianapolis Colts.
You're right. We're definitely bringing the mood down. Close loss, 23-22. The Texans on the road. We did cover. I think people expect us to get blown out, so that's encouraging. But what's not encouraging is the play of starting quarterback Anthony Richardson, who I am going to publicly say now is a bust. He stinks. He's no good. And he took himself out of the game yesterday because he was out of breath. Didn't get the wind knocked out of him. Just was a little too winded. Was a little too gassed. Took a play off. 10 of 32 passing yesterday, 170 yards, a touchdown and a pick. There were a couple drops in there, maybe 4 or 5 drops, but that still adds up to a 15 of 42 or a 14 of 32. Dude, I don't think can play the quarterback position. It's damn amazing that we're 4-4 and in the playoff mix right now. It is time to do the right thing, and it's obviously sadly not going to happen. It was announced today. Shane Steichen said he's still a QB1. But it should not be the case. He needs to sit his ass on the bench, fucking learn how to play the game the right way. You don't take yourself out because you're fucking a little too winded down in the fourth quarter. Joe Flacco needs to step in as a quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer. He's the reigning comeback player of the year. He's a Super Bowl winner. He needs to play. He filled in and went, I think, 2-1 as a starter. Looked good. I think he has like 7 touchdowns to 1 pick. You have to play him. Anthony Richardson sucks. He's no good. I don't like him. I don't want him to start anymore.
Wow, maybe you won't be mad at me. That's my ass out of the week. My ass out of the week is Anthony Richardson. That man, I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback take off a play unless they're hurt. I don't think I've ever seen that, and I cannot believe that happened. He was tired, so he's just out of shape?
I don't know. This is week 8, guy. This isn't week 1. I don't know. There's no excuse.
And not only that, but how does he not? Let me look at Michael Pittman. I think the Colts are best when Michael Pittman has it going and has like 7 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. To me, it's not Jonathan Taylor. He helps when he's good. He was good this week. But the Colts are at their best when Joey Flacco is throwing the ball to Michael Pittman. And my betting account does a lot better when Michael Pittman hits his overs. And this one really pissed me off with 1 reception. But with all that said, so you're out on trade Anthony Richardson now. Like you don't ever want to see him in a Colts uniform playing QB1 anymore.
We don't have to trade him, but bench him. He should not start. He's not proven that he is a starting quarterback in the NFL. And this isn't some slop-ass team that we got. We're 4-4. The playoffs are on the fucking line now. This is the thick of the season. Now is not the time for experimenting. I don't give a fuck if Joe Flacco is 39 or 54. I don't give a fuck. I want to win now. Start him.
Yeah, you guys got to play Joe Flacco. But with all this said, like you said, you're 4-4 in what looks to be a weaker AFC, second in the division. You lost to the Texans, the best team in the division. It could be a lot worse. And you didn't get blown out. So, spin zone. Maybe it's a good week for the Colts, and maybe this game helps Steichen figure out that Joe Flacco is QB1 going forward. Maybe if Anthony Richardson has one more bad game, I would hope to God I wonder if I could bet Anthony Richardson getting benched next week. Who do you guys play? Oh,
Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football against the Vikings. We got to get Stolken and Broden. All the Vikings fans are coming on next Monday. Oh, that's gonna be great. I assume you already looked at that spread.
I have seen that one. I think I saw Vikings -7. I might have changed, but that's what I saw.
Colts plus 210 money line. I might be. If they can announce Joe Flacco's playing, I'm hammering the Colts.
Anthony Richardson started.
Things can change over the. It's only Monday. Sheets.
Shane Steichen said that he is QB1 still.
You got to say that though as a coach until you bench him. You have to say that to keep his confidence. I don't know. There's a chance. I think we'll see Joe Flacco in the second half.
I want to see Joe Flacco out there for the first drive of the fucking damn game.
Well, I hope you are. And if he does, if somehow that's announced, I'm going to be hammering the Colts money line because the Vikings have dropped 2 straight, and I don't think they're stopping anytime soon.
You are right. We can talk a little bit about that. That's a good segue. That was a Thursday night game, Rams and Vikings. And you might be right. The Vikings, I were hyping them up after the first couple of weeks, but now after a couple losses, we'll see. Like, does this continue to happen? I mean, I would think if we're taking our biases out, I would think they should have no problem with us next week. But many people thought they were going to run away with that Rams game. And it was the Rams picking up a big win, a much needed win for them. What do you think about that Thursday night game? What do you think? And what do you think about the Packers? Or excuse me, what do you think about the Vikings?
What I've always thought, what goes up must come down in Minnesota. Not in Green Bay, but in Minnesota, what goes up must come down. And their losses are going to start piling up. I know they start out 5-0. You were hot on them. Stolken was hot on them. Everybody was chirping about the 5-0 Vikings. And the Rams are a good football team. When the Cooper Kupp is in the game and Puka Nacua is playing, they can compete with anybody in the NFL, in my opinion. And Matt Stafford's always a damn good quarterback. So it's not like it's not a great loss. I had the Rams money line and plus 10. I was all over them. But naturally, I kind of bet against the Vikings every week. Didn't work out the first 5. But, I mean, yeah, it was a good game. Stafford pulled out. I think the Vikings were a little frustrated on the sideline. I saw Jefferson throwing a helmet. Addison was putting his hands in the air. There's some shit going on in Minnesota, and it's not good.
Yeah, no, it was a frustrating game in general from kind of start to finish for the Vikings. And like you said, players looked pissed off. We'll see. This next week, even if it is against the Colts, I think it's an important game. They can't let another one slide. They got to fix this thing before the wheels come completely off because they have not looked like themselves the last couple of weeks. And you got the Lions starting to hum. You got the Packers starting to hum. And the Bears are off to a much better start than we thought. So the Vikings want to win the NFC North. They got to fucking figure shit out fast because that was not a good win against, or it was not a good performance against a Rams team that's pretty much hurt at every damn position.
I think I know that this line's going to get the 7. It's at 6 right now on ESPN. That's going to get the 7, and I'm going to hammer the Colts plus 7.
We'll see. I'm not too confident if it is Anthony Richardson that starts, but maybe. I mean, part of me also thinks maybe there's no way he can get any worse, right? I mean, he's got to improve. He's got to have a better game at some point. And he played like dog shit ass yesterday, probably worse than dog shit ass, and we still lost by 3. It's like all we need to do is this guy play average.
You need a C+ game out of him, and you win that game. He gave you an F.
He gave us a big old F. Yeah, you're right. A C or C+ game gets that done yesterday because the Texans, we got after them, and they didn't play their best game. So it was frustrating, and it's not going to get any easier next week on the road against Minnesota. Even if they are on a couple game losing streak, it's just not going to be that easy. So enough said on that. Let's continue on here with some of our segments. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what else. We still have to get to. Oh, it's National Tight Ends Day. Let's talk a little bit of National Tight Ends Day. Tight ends went off too. I don't think it's any coincidence. You talked a little bit about Tucker Kraft. Who were some of your star tight ends from yesterday that stood out to you?
Well, first of all, I got a bone to pick with George Kittle. He was one of them. He was one of them, by the way. He went off last night. But I'm going to contribute some money, and maybe we can convince Stolken Candles too as well, to their marketing campaign. Because next year, I better know damn well at 11 a.m. that it's National Tight Ends Day. I did not know this going into the game. If we would have bet all the overs, all the tight ends to score a touchdown, I wouldn't be in the bathroom right now taking a dump on the AFC South. I'd be probably flying in my private jet to pick you up going to Hawaii. Yeah. But no, they don't fucking say a thing. We don't know until Tony Romo hops on the call or whoever, National Tight Ends Day. Tell us that shit next year. God damn it. That would have been huge. But we can give a shout out. TJ Hawkinson had 6 receptions, 131 yards, a touchdown. Mark Andrews, 8 receptions, 112 and a tutty. Wait a damn minute. Hold on. That's not correct. I started reading it, and then it said Greg Olsen. This is some kind of a meme tweet.
Oh. Kyle Pitts had a big game. Kyle Pitts had 2 tutties. I think he's my tight end of the day. It's not
Cade Otton. Cade Otton had a massive day. You're a fantasy tight end, but also my fantasy tight end in a different league. So I was happy about that. Brock Wright scored. Tyler Conklin scored. Kyle Pitts scored. Sam Laporta scored. I mean, I don't know how do we reach George Kittle? This has to be advertised next year.
For sure. He's got to do a better job marketing. I didn't realize it too until, like you mentioned, Tony Romo was John about it. It's like, yeah, that would have definitely been helpful. I know some guy turned like a 25 bet into like 20 grand yesterday, just betting on touchdown scores from tight ends. Like, yeah, we would have been all over that shit.
Yeah, and it's not like, I mean, our podcast, by the way, our picks, we had a good week last week. We are 31 and 29, so we're back above 500, looking to creep even more. But that would have helped if you could have just given all the people like us a couple free bets out there. I mean, fuck. But yeah, happy National Tight Ends Day, I guess.
I also happy Tight Ends Day to me, former high school tight end.
Oh, happy Tight End Day! I didn't know I thought you were a quarterback.
I was quarterback freshman and sophomore year, and then realized I was never going to start varsity, and decided I'd rather get some playing time, switch to tight end.
Didn't you break the state record for JV passing yards in the season?
I don't know if you're dicking around with me or not. I've never have. I don't know if I've said that, but
you told all the girls that back at Wartburg. Remember that used to be your pickup line.
I did tell all the girls that. You're right. You caught me. I'm still using it. That's why I didn't want to get the cat out of the bag. I'm still using it.
Okay.
That's all right. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other segments we can get in real quick. Oh, let's talk about the Bills, real quick, and then maybe a little bit of Cowboys. Let's do Bills because Jake Beck, I know, is probably watching, and this team looked damn good yesterday. They started off hot, got into a slump, and now I think they're back again. With the Ravens losing yesterday, and I'm still not high on the Chiefs. I don't care if they're undefeated. They could maybe make a case for best team in the AFC. The way they looked yesterday, I mean, they went into Seattle, who I think is a pretty solid team, smacked them around. Josh Allen played a damn near perfect game, 2 touchdowns. James Cook was dynamite on the ground. Khalil Shakur had a good game, and Geno Smith looked like dog crap yesterday. Barely over 200 yards. They couldn't run the ball either. I think Zach Charbonnet was their leading rusher. And let me look it up. He was the leading rusher was Geno Smith. He had 16 yards. Kenneth Walker had 9 carries for 12 yards. Zach Charbonnet had 3 carries for 4 yards. They had 17 rushing attempts for 32 yards. They couldn't even average 2 yards a carry.
That's bad. They're bad. Seattle's 4-4, and at one point this season, I thought there maybe if you can't run the ball, I mean, brutal performance. I don't know if it speaks more to them or the Bills are damn good. Josh Allen's damn good. Is he still not throwing a pick? Oh, he threw a pick this week. Damn it.
He threw a pick yesterday, I'm pretty sure.
Damn it. Well, still a good start to the season. James Cook ran all over Seattle. So did Ray Davis. Everybody rushed well. They had 164 yards on the ground. Keon Coleman shaping up to be a good draft pick. They got Amari Cooper. He didn't do much this game, but you'd be damned if he doesn't in the playoffs. And Kincaid, another tight end, the touchdown. I've got his over it. Him and Laporta parlayed 5+ touchdowns this year each. I think they're both sitting at 2. But yeah, the Bills are legit. The problem is, dude, they got the teeth kicked in by the Ravens and lost to the Texans. So the 2 times they played good teams and they're in the AFC, they lost. The other teams they played haven't been great. They played Dolphins, Cardinals, Jags, Jets, who look to be shitty, Titans are shitty, and now the Seahawks. So I don't know. Maybe they tricked me this week, and maybe they're not as good as I think.
They looked impressive yesterday. You're right. That's not a total. It's not necessarily a great, impressive teams they've beaten so far, but they throttled Seattle yesterday. I thought Seattle was going to win that game. I was high on them. That was the game I misread of the entire day. I took Seattle +3, and there was not a second of that game where I thought they were going to cover. They got fucking punched in the mouth from the get-go, and it got worse and worse as the game went on. So let's real quick get into Sunday night game. San Francisco over Dallas. Again, another game. I ended up luckily getting a push at +6. But I thought the Cowboys were going to cover and possibly win yesterday. But San Francisco gets and it was a game between 2 teams that needed a win if they're going to turn their season around. And the loser was going to feel pretty shitty after already feeling pretty shitty about how the season was going. So shout out San Francisco. They get back to 500 despite everything they've went through this season. Obviously not having McCaffrey at all, losing other guys, losing Brandon Ayuk. They're thin right now. They needed a win. They got it done. And honestly, like Dallas, just pathetic. I mean, just pathetic. They looked good in quarters 1, 2, and 4, but a terrible third quarter ruined it for them. They came out flat as a fucking tire. And I think they got outscored 21-0 in the third quarter alone. Pissed their pants. Highest paid player in the NFL looked like shit. Throwing up dumbass picks. They think that Dalvin Cook's going to change their season. It's not. They should have had Derrick Henry on this team. I say this every week. Should have had Derrick Henry. He lives in Dallas. He was working out all summer in Dallas. Wanted to sign with them, but Jerry Jones says he couldn't afford them. And now they fall to 3-4. Off of bye week 2 as well. When you have an early bye week like this, you want to pick up a win. Mike McCarthy is historically good off the bye week. And now they go on the road next week to Atlanta, a game they could lose again. Atlanta has looked much better than them this season. So I don't know what your thoughts are on them. What do you think about the 49ers getting the win? And we can get to that real quick, and then we'll have Tyson join here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I love watching the Cowboys lose. And this game ended 30-24. It was not – I mean, Dallas tried creeping back in the game, but they got killed. This was not – they never had a chance in the second half. I'd kind of disagree with you. I think the Falcons are -3 next week against the Cowboys. I think this is a great spot for the money line, the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to be completely out of the mix, and I don't think they should. I was looking at this game, and I thought myself the line would be even, but the fact that Atlanta's -3, that's going to be a public pick, though, isn't it? But I still kind of like them getting the points, maybe not money line. But yeah, they're dog shit. Big Cock Brock is back. I don't care what Hawkeye fans say. If you watched that game last night, he played very well. His stats were great. He can just do everything. He's so much better than he was at Iowa State. And granted, he has a little more help than he did with the Cyclones. But I love watching the NFL. He is damn good.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of Brock Purdy haters who took those couple losses that they had as evidence that he was a shitty quarterback and no good. I never went that far with him. The guy is a solid quarterback still, despite some of those games he had where he's throwing ugly picks at the 1-yard line. I think yesterday was kind of a statement game. He showed back up. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's a good quarterback.
Let's get an updated quarterback rankings next week, can't we?
Okay, I haven't done my list for the coming week yet because there's still a Monday night game. But I did have Russell Wilson, first entry of the year. I brought him in at number 4 after his win last week. So we'll see if he lives up to the billing this week.
Number 4?
After last week's game, I put him at number 4 in this week's rankings.
Sheets. That Russell Wilson, this isn't 2016 or whenever he won the Super Bowl. It's still Russell Wilson with one good game, jumped them all the way to 4.
that's where I'm like, where do I debut this guy at? It was hard to place him somewhere, and I said, well, he looks
How about
lights out.
29?
He's still a good quarterback.
We'll agree to disagree.
We'll get into our picks later. We'll get into our picks later about the Monday night game. I think that might have been an overranking. I think he might get knocked down a peg tonight. We'll see. But it's 6:15, so we got about 15 minutes until we wrap things up. So let's bring in our guest of honor. It's not often in recent years that we can bring a Patriots fan in. So we figured we would take this opportunity to bring in my good friend Tyson Dolan, joins the show. Tyson, you on?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
How we doing, Brandon? Nice to meet you. Peyton,
What's
good
going
to see
on?
you. Not a whole lot. What a weekend of football, huh?
It was. It was crazy finishes from start to finish. Obviously, we talked a little bit about that Bears game. Sunday night was a battle last night. Our buddy Mason Doyle's Ravens going down to Jameis Winston. It was a solid Sunday yesterday.
Yeah, it was a ton of upsets. A lot of weird stuff happening around the NFL. Just really odd. Like what is going on with those Jets? It is just so confusing to me.
I gotta be honest
with you.
I gotta be honest. I placed a future on the Jets to win the AFC Championship. Not thinking they will. I'm just thinking maybe if they get there, I can hedge out of it. So I was cheering against you, and I don't know many Patriots fans, but while I was watching the game, I'm like, no, fuck them. Fuck the Jets. I want the Patriots to win because I'm sick and tired of all their shit and not being able to put a team together. And here's the Patriots. We've commented many times in this show earlier in the year. I wanted Drake May to play all along. Were you in the same boat earlier this year, or were you wanting Jacoby Brissett to play?
You know, I was, but it's so often in the league that you see a team throw their guy out there, just throw him to the wolves, you know, like in Peyton's situation with Anthony Richardson. A guy who, you know, and it does teams well, like your Packers, like I said, sit them a few years, you know, and learn a system, learn how to win games in the NFL because it's a hard thing to do. But you know, I wanted to see what Drake May had, you know, and I agree, and been pretty happy with what I've saw from him. I will say though, you know, I don't think it was necessarily a fair benching of Jacoby Brissett. It is if they wanted to see what May had, you know, if they thought he was the better player. But what they asked Jacoby Brissett to do was to go in and manage games for them and develop the team, the young team that they had, and kind of be that veteran leader for him. And I thought he did a good job of that. And so I was really happy for him yesterday to get to come in and win a game against the Jets. So the Patriots always have the Jets number, it seems. So really good, really happy for Brissett to come in and get a win. You know, the big storyline coming into this game was Mayo coming out and calling his team soft. That's a tough thing for a group of veteran defenders to hear, you know, especially as they've been the Patriots' only line of, you know, defense the last 3 or 4 years. That's what they've been known for. And when they come out and they can't tackle, they can't stop the run, and they can't play special teams. You know, they're giving up touchdowns and big plays on bad punts and stuff like that. You don't know how they're going to respond. So it was good to see that the team had a little fire in them yesterday and came out and got it done. You know, it sucks to see Drake go down. I don't know what happened there. It's like he had a couple good runs and then he thought he was Cam Newton and decided to take off on every play and took a helmet to the back of the head. You know, and that's what happens when you decide to take off and you want to be that guy. You're going to get hit. And he did. And, you know, I think he'll be fine. I think the Patriots are doing a good job of developing him. They got some young talent at wide receiver. But, you know, I just can't help but take away from that game, like, what the hell is going on with the Jets? You have to win that game. You know, they bring in their savior, Devontae Adams, who's supposed to fix everything. They get blown out by the Steelers. They bring Hassan Reddick back yesterday, and he doesn't have much of an impact on the game at all. And, you know, it's his first game back, so you can't expect much of him. But, yeah, they get rid of Saleh. Everybody thinks he's the problem. And I know there was a lot of people who are kind of kind of surprised by that. A lot of people thought he was doing a great job with that team. I wasn't one of them, but I can see why people now think that he was doing a great job, because it's still just an absolute mess.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling, that decision to fire Robert Saleh. I mean, like you said, some people weren't on board the Bob Saleh train, but it was early in the year, and now it's completely evident that it wasn't anything he was doing. In fact, they've gotten worse. They've gotten far worse since they fired their coach. Usually when you fire a coach, it's like, well, we can improve from here. We'll rally around the interim guy. It's gotten way worse than it was before. I think it's a dumbass decision to fire him. Then I know Nathaniel Hackett's kind of a dumbass, but they take the play calling away from him. That doesn't change anything. They bring in Davante Adams, like you mentioned. That doesn't change anything. I mean, Aaron Rodgers said that a couple weeks ago. He's like, the biggest problem right now is our guys are listening to the media too much. That's our biggest problem. It's like, no, that's not the biggest problem, guy. You guys actually stink.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was a terrible year. It's somehow gotten worse. They were better under Zach Wilson last year than they are with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know what's going on with them.
You know where Saleh's been hanging out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been on the Packers sideline, which I'll fucking bring him over. I'll give him whatever position.
I thought that was a great idea for them to bring him in as a defensive sort of opinion on their offense and stuff like that. I think that'll be great for them.
What's also in the water up north where you guys are from? Because the Vikings are how far away, and you've got a Colts, a Ravens, and a Patriots fan. How the fuck did this happen?
I'll tell you a funny story about how I become a Patriots fan. So I was probably 6 or 7 years old. My grandpa's a big Bears fan, has been forever. And so we're watching, back in what it would have been 2005 or 6. No, 2004 or 5 probably, way back in the day. Tom Brady and the Patriots were taking on the Green Bay Packers, funny enough. And my grandpa was rooting for the Patriots, and the Patriots beat the shit out of them. And so my grandpa was pretty happy about it. And I thought, you know what? I like these Patriots a lot. So I just kind of got lucky with it, honestly. I mean, that's the only reason I'm a Patriots fan. But, yeah.
I've told this story on the pod before, but I'm only a Packers fan because I walked up to my buddy in like year 5 at daycare and was like, who do you like in the NFL? And he's like, the Packers. I said, all right, cool. I'm going to be a Packers fan too.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have there weren't going to be too many different options. It was either going to be the Vikings, the Packers, or the Cowboys, probably. Those were your 3 options.
Yeah, thank God I didn't pick the Cowboys.
You got lucky. You got lucky, to say the least.
All 3 of our favorite teams have been able to say that we've watched them win a Super Bowl. So we can hang our hats on that for sure.
But we all can't say we watched our team win 6.
That's true.
So that's actually a good question, because we don't run into too many Patriots fans. You've obviously won a shit ton of 6 Super Bowls. You had Tom Brady, you had the best dynasty probably ever. No question ever. Is it weird for you to watch football games now at New England? Like what exactly are you thinking, like going through your mind? Are you just like, oh, we're rebuilding? Or it's all
I think the biggest thing for me is when Tom Brady's your quarterback, it doesn't matter what the score is, it doesn't matter how much time's left, it doesn't matter where you're at. You genuinely feel like you have a chance to win the game. And now, I watch games thinking, well, shit, who knows what's going to happen? It's really weird to watch games now because I almost have to expect a loss. It's different, it's nice seeing an actual talent at quarterback again. I think Drake May will slowly become one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He throws, and I don't know if you guys have seen the deep ball he throws, but it's one of the prettier deep balls in the NFL. I mean, that guy can spin it. It is a beautiful ball. But I don't know. It's just, like I said, the biggest thing for me is just almost wondering the outcome of games, like not being shocked when they lose anymore, because when Tom Brady's your quarterback, you're shocked when you lose a game. That's how it goes. But that's the biggest difference for me, I guess.
I like it. Myja, you want to transition us to the Monday night?
Yeah, let's talk about tonight's Monday Night Football game. It is the New York Giants going on the road to Pittsburgh. And I'm trying to pull up the stat here. I saw a great stat just before we started the show. The the Pittsburgh Steelers have not lost a Monday Night Football game at home since 1991. I think they've won like 21 in a row on Monday night at home. And then also there's a stat with Daniel Jones where he's like 1-15 all time in primetime games, and I think 0-7 in Sunday night games specifically. So part of me is wondering, is there any way that Daniel Jones can keep up this dog shit streak? And is there any way that the Steelers can keep up this incredible streak? These streaks got to end. So part of me is thinking, fuck it, why not take Giants money line tonight? So that's my opinion on things. I'll let you guys talk about what you think is going to happen, and then we get into our picks.
Barry, do you want me to go, or you want to?
You go for it.
Alrighty. Well, I got a couple picks for you here, and I got a couple notes to back them up. So did you know that road dogs this season are 40-33 against the spread? 6-point dogs or more are 21-10 against the spread this year, which is a remarkable clip, over 67%. Danny Dimes, Peyton, as you just mentioned, 18-9 as a road dog, 18-9 against the spread. Dable also 10-5 when he's catching 6 points or more. And road dogs coming off a 20-plus point loss are 94, at least a 20-plus point loss, are 94-76 against the spread since 2018. And when you combine that with 83% of public bets being on the Steelers to cover -6, the Giants +6 just makes too much sense. It just makes too much sense. I'm kind of not getting too in depth here. You know, a lot of guys go into the players, stuff like that, but again, I'm just going to be kind of square here and take the under 36.5. I know Peyton that's one of your favorite bets is the primetime under, but there's a lot of great data points to back that up as well. Primetime unders killing it since 2019, 172 and 122. And this total again opened up at 39. There was a lot of sharp money that brought this total down all the way to 36.5. I think it's back up to 37.5. I checked about a half hour ago or something like that. But even with a ton of money being on the over, that total's still coming down. And when totals fall at least 1 point, unders are 297 and 242 since 2021. The Giants games are 6-1 going under this year. And when you combine that with 74% of the bets being on the over, the under just makes too much sense.
This is the most prepared guest we've ever had in the history of this show. That was awesome. Fuck Stolken, Beck, all those guys. Take some fucking notes because this guy knows how to gamble. And shout out Stolken and Stolken Candles not getting us the Stolken stats this week. Good job, Ryan. Hell of a pick. I didn't realize all that. So your one official pick is under 36.5. Do you have a second official pick?
Yep, the Giants +6 was my first.
Okay.
One.
All right, Giants +6. Awesome. The guest record got back to even last week, so looking for Tyson to get us above 500 here. My pick.
I'm in a bit of a slump right now, so I'm hoping this can. I dug deep for these, so I'm hoping this will help me crawl out of it. So,
all right, I like that. Someone who works at it. I kind of, as much as yours has logical sense, one of my bets, I flipped. I thought to myself, sometimes logic doesn't fucking work in the NFL. And Absolutely. I was thinking about taking Daniel Jones anytime interception, and then I flipped it to Russell Wilson throwing an interception. So I've got Russell Wilson to throw an interception. I think I've hit well on this before when good pass rushing defensive ends are playing mobile quarterbacks. Those quarterbacks like to run. So I've got Daniel Jones over 10.5 longest rush in one time. I just need him to break away. And this isn't going to be my pick, but you guys have me thinking, and this is crazy. A gambler should never do this, but I'm going to bet this Giants to cover, but I'm also going to take the Steelers money line. I think the Steelers get the win, but I think the Giants cover, and I don't think there's any way around that. I'm going to take both of them, but that's not my pick. Meisner, what's your pick? 2 picks.
All right. Well, since we're ready on Giants +6, and you're going to hold off on that Steelers, I'm going to say we're taking it one further. Let's go Giants money line with my first pick. I just really don't believe that the streak with the Steelers on Monday Night Football can continue any longer. And I don't think that Daniel Jones' streak of stinking it up on Sunday night and primetime in general can continue any longer. I think the Steelers are a fluky 5-2 team. I think that Russell Wilson played way too well last week, that this Giants defense, who is pretty nasty, I think gets after him. I think he's going to struggle tonight. I don't see him repeating. I think he played way too well last night. So I think all the indicators are in on the Giants' money line. And I think that will tighten things up in the NFC East. And then I think that will send off the Steelers. They have a bye week next week. So I think it kind of makes sense. Let's give the Giants a win this week to make the things in the NFC East a little interesting. They play the Commanders next week in a game that will mean much more. And then the Steelers have a bye week. So it wouldn't mean too much if they gave them a loss tonight. They give a bye week next week. And then I think they play the Commanders in 2 weeks. So I'm going Giants money line with my first pick. I think that streak of the Steelers Monday night wins at home ends. And I think Danny Dimes gets his first big primetime win. 6-point dogs. I don't see it. Russell Wilson as a three-time Russell Wilson in his last 9 games as a favorite by 3 or more points is 0-9, I think, against the spread, and he's like 3-6 straight up. So he's been dog shit against the spread and at home. We got all kinds of great stats coming out tonight. So I'm taking Giants with my first pick. And then second pick, I think I had him a couple weeks ago. I'm taking Tyrone Tracy over receiving yards. Let me pull it up as an actual number. I think it's either 10.5 or 11.5. Let's see what
that's it.
I think it hit. I took his over receiving either last week or 2 weeks ago. I think they played Sunday Night Football. I took his over on Sunday Night Football when they played the Bengals 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And it hit. And I think it hits again tonight. Let me pull up the official number.
Giants money line. I can't believe the steel curtain at home in prime time doesn't worry you at all.
It doesn't. I've had a good couple weeks in a row, so the show's name is Lame on the Line. I'm laying those fuckers out on the fucking table.
Fair.
Do you think there's a bit of an overreaction from the public of the Steelers coming off of that big win over the Jets? You know, because the Jets, I mean,
right.
they've lost 5 games in a row. They're not a good team. They're not a good team at all. And I think the Jets know as much media as they get. Going to the Steelers, you know, everybody said, "Oh, the Jets are going to win tonight. It's a lock. It's a lock. The Jets are great." And then they get blown out, and now the Steelers are on this pedestal of holy shit, Russ is back. You know, everybody hammer the Steelers. It's 6 points. I will say this: I think this is only the Giants' second road game of the season, second or third. And the first one, they went on the road in Seattle, arguably a much tougher environment to play in. I don't know about the team-wise, but environment-wise, we'll say Seattle's a little bit tougher environment. And they kind of made the Seahawks look silly. You know, it's obviously the Bills did that Sunday, but is that a tough thing to do? You know, who knows? But this is the NFL. I mean, any given Sunday, any given night, anybody can beat anybody. So I absolutely would not be shocked to see the Giants go in and beat the Steelers tonight.
I like that. I just placed a bet, and I got your Tyrone Tracy over at 12.5 on FanDuel.
Okay. I've seen it on other apps at 11.5. So my official one is
I'll give you 11. I'll give you 11.
He gets over that. Former Hawkeye, former Boilermaker. I think that's too low. I think the last game I had him, it was like similar number, and he had like 30 receiving yards. So that's my second pick.
Oh, that's one catch. I mean, come on.
Right. Absolutely. That's definitely doable. But 6 solid picks right there. If you're watching right now, we're big on the G-Men tonight. So we gotta cheer for New York. I mean, the defense, I think, will definitely bring it. I think they'll keep them in it. It's just really a question of can they do anything on offense. I think Brian Daboll gets it done tonight. I think this is a team that has needed a signature win and hasn't gotten it in a long time. What better game than tonight? And then you like you said, Tyson, there's a lot of hype over that Giants or over that win over the Jets. They're not any good. We know that now. 6 points is a lot of points. I mean, the Giants, I don't think are that bad. I don't think they're 6 points behind the Steelers. I think they cover that easily. And like I said already, if we're already on them at the spread, we might as well take them full honcho on the money.
I also have another little sprinkle play for you. The Jets, or I'm sorry, not the Jets. The Giants have a very underrated secondary. I think they actually have some good cornerbacks. And so I like your pick of Russell Wilson throwing an interception. But give me the Jets, or give me the Giants defense to score a touchdown tonight. Defense and special teams. I think they can get it done. And if this total does get close to the over, I think it's because it's a sloppy game. Two offenses. The Steelers' receiving core isn't fantastic. I think the Giants will have success in passing defense tonight. I think they can score, and I think there will be a defensive or special teams touchdown tonight in this game. Just a sloppy game tonight.
I love our picks tonight. I really do. I know we say that every week, but this week it feels really good. I feel like a 5-1 kind of week going on, maybe 6-0.
Just especially as well as the public has been doing too. Like it's time. Vegas is going to get their money back sometime, and tonight seems like a perfect night for them to get it back.
Absolutely. We're big on the Giants tonight. We're going to get you a little bit of break before the Monday night game starts. Thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight. Thanks, Tyson, for joining us. Let's send it off to the end of the stream. I do want to give a shout out. Happy Sports Equinox, everybody. All 4 sports going on tonight. You got the World Series game, NHL, NBA, NFL, Sports Equinox. So go bet some